Raise your hand if at some point in your life an idea you had been stolen or credited to someone else. Now raise your hand if this has happened a numerous amount of times. Hi, my name is Connor Atkinson, and I want to persuade everyone to credit women when it is deserved. For most men, the interruptions they make or ideas they steal are done without completely realizing it. As a female in the racing world, I have experienced it personally a numerous amount of times by hearing the comments, "You can't race professionally, you aren't good enough, and mentally you're not strong enough," because I'm female. My 3 points are going to address the issue, give ideas pertaining to change, and what the world would look like if there was a better distribution of credit. The first step is to recognize the problem. So where does this happen more commonly? Caroline Turner states in her article, "Women's Ideas, Do Men Intentionally Steal Them?" that for most men, the workplace is like a game being played. Everyone wants to win. She states that the idea is like the ball on the court or the field. The women left the idea there, and now it's only fair for the men to pick it up and run with it. Over discussing this topic with Rachel Jancy, I was able to get a real-life experience she encountered while in the workplace. Simply, Rachel brought up a great plan to a higher authority, and then no longer than 10 minutes later, the idea was shut down, and then the men was able to re-bring it up and they'd be credited for it. The problem is not only the men, though. Women have over the years tore each other down and not picked each other up when they have fallen. Men approach ideas with power. They demand a change rather than asking like a female would. Women lack confidence. Leadership and authority is shown through a low, powerful, and masculine voice, not the typical women high-pitched voice. So the problem is the starting point. So what comes next? One idea would be to create a group that strictly raises awareness to credit women when they put forth an idea or a plan. This can only be done if women decide to come together and stand for what they believe in. We have to start fighting for our equal voices. Women have to learn to interrupt occasionally, like the men do. They have to learn to demand rather than ask. Women have to have a strong, powerful approach instead of the typical timid. Secondly, we have to have numbers. Keith Campbell, head of Department of Sociology at Fort Hays State University, David Klein, and Kenneth Olson, heads of the Department of Psychology, state in an article, "The main reason men interrupt women's ideas or plans and continue it as their own is because they want to have dominance." Leslie Massey writes an article on Alexander Campbell and the status of women. She writes that Alexander Campbell is a reason for women's social equality. By reading this article, I've come to the conclusion that men must be involved. There is no greater support than becoming an ally with the enemy and then coming together and working to create change. If the amount of credit was distributed through both sexes, the bondage between men and women would increase tremendously. So what would the world look like if women were credited at the appropriate times? Women and men are going to be able to work together and work more productively. You're not going to see men over here and women over here. They're all going to be integrated together. Men are going to be able to go to women knowing that when they ask a question, the comments coming back from the woman is going to be fully with complete confidence. Women are no longer going to have to ask the question, "Is this good enough?" They're going to state that this is good enough. The difference between those two statements is power and assurance. The ball's no longer going to be left on the table to be picked up and ran with. Many times a product being invented was originally a woman's idea, but obviously credited for a male. BuzzFeed shows multiple inventions made by women, such as the car heater, the board game Monopoly, the medical syringe, and the ice cream maker. If women have a louder voice in society, the amount of inventions would increase. There would be many more ideas that women have that could be very beneficial in today's world, but have yet to be even approached. We have to make a change, but we need to come together to accomplish this main goal. In conclusion, I want to challenge everyone 2 different ways. For women, I want you to help pick each other up. I want you to urge others around you to speak up when they see a woman lack confidence in their idea. Explain to her that they have an importance of having power, and they need to be 100% in what they're saying. For men, I want you to recognize the words being said when a woman speaks. You can have an opinion or an idea to go along with it, but you have to try and wait for a woman to finish her plan and then tag along your questions and your suggestions. Help support women. Thank you.